Despite being born and raised in Indonesia, I want to say that I'm from FIUTS. It's an office that feels like home and a community that feels like family. Tonight, I want to tell you all the story of how I found that sense of belonging in FIUTS. It all started when my mom went to college in the US. After finding out how hard it is to learn English as a second language, my mom wanted me to learn English while I was growing up. So I was raised with a more American mindset, reading American novels, watching American TV shows, living based on American ideas, and speaking American English. So much so that I started getting out of touch with my own native tongue and culture. Growing up, I went to international schools where my subjects were taught in English, and my friends were a diverse group of Japanese, Korean, Irish, and Indonesians who preferred conversing in English. When I first came to the US, I was a sheltered 16-year-old with a thirst for adventure. I met a big group of Indonesians who weren't as open and accepting as the Indonesian friends I had at home. Thinking I was the one at fault for not knowing more about my country, I spent my first 2 years struggling to fit into their exclusive circle, struggling to keep up with my classes, struggling with family issues, struggling to find any motivation to keep going. My lifelong dreams of living in the US kept on crumbling and crumbling for those 2 years. It was nothing like what the movies and novels taught me. It was nothing like my daydreams and fantasies. It was heartbreaking. So when I transferred to UW, I was determined to use the fresh start to make the most of my last 2 years as a student. I spent my first quarter at UW frantically joining everything I could, which included registering for 20 clubs, such as the Gamers Nation, Graphic Novel Society, and Right Away, while also rushing 2 sororities. Finding my niche group in university became a momentary obsession for me. Keeping up with online extracurricular activities would start affecting my studies. The social life I dreamt of required so much sacrifices educationally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, especially for a natural introvert like me. It was then that I was referred to Unite UW by one of my friends. Spending my winter quarter with them helped me open up enough to seek more opportunities like the one they provided, like when I first discovered FIUTS through the mandatory International Student Orientation. But it wasn't until I joined the FIUTS Student Board that I got more involved. Interviewing for the student board was nerve-wracking and bone-chilling. But it's a funny story, actually. I came to the FIUTS office a few minutes early and I was asked to sit and wait at this couch by the front desk. I sat next to this girl who out of nowhere started talking to me. Immediately, my defenses shut off, my mind raced, and I smiled and answered like the awkward mess that I am. A few minutes later, she walked into the office and I had a moment of peace with her. Then after, I was called into the office. Lo and behold, the girl turned out to be the president of the student board. So that's how my journey with FIUTS started. Since then, joining this FIUTS student board really opened up a whole new world for me. During the student board orientation, I met Fia, who shared a very similar experience with what I went through back in Indonesia, feeling isolated in my own country from my own people. Up until then, I thought I was alone. I then started to wonder if there were others like me. I got to meet and know more amazing people through doing things like drinking Anna's homemade bubble tea, discussing race and politics with Rachel, rollerblading with Harith, and going to Oregon Coast with Yushan. As I went on my journey with FIUTS, I also became a facilitator, one of FIUTS' volunteer leaders, to overall grow as a person, while also feeling the need to catch up to all the wonderful people I'm meeting through FIUTS. The great thing about facilitating is that you can choose to lead any kind of FIUTS event, big or small, as many or little times as you like. This gave me the chance to both force myself out of my shell by leading others, as well as facilitate as many times as necessary so that I can get used to it. I went from just serving ice cream to the early fall start students to leading bigger events like hiking Bridal Veil Falls and pumpkin carving at a cornfield up in Snoqualmie. I ended up facilitating 83 hours just in September before I finally felt the least bit comfortable with the idea of facilitating. Which is quite the contrast now that I facilitated 134 hours as the top 1% most facilitated. My proudest moment has to be when I signed up to be a booth captain for Indonesia at one of FIUTS' biggest events of the year, CulturalFest. Not only did I make and run a booth with 2 fellow Indonesian friends, I also got the chance to research, learn, and connect with my country's culture in ways I never thought I could imagine. I remember pacing around, shaking and hyperventilating, just thinking of the kinds of questions I wouldn't be able to answer if anyone asked anything about my country that wasn't on my high school culture board. I felt like an imposter. I always have, because I feel like I'm in a gap between American and Indonesian culture, never knowing enough about either, never fitting in both. I made it through the day though, and it felt enlightening. As I went on with the newfound confidence and self-improvement that I got from FIUTS, I was able to enjoy the leadership position I feared, speak up when I used to be the shyest, and step out of my comfort zone when I used to hide in it. I then wanted to reach out to those who felt like they were alone, who felt as small as I did when I started at UW. FIUTS has given me the space to learn and grow, the environment to try and to succeed, the people who are supportive and encouraging, and the opportunity to be the best version of me I can be. Thank you.